In this video, we're going to talk about how somebody develops narcissistic personality disorder. Stay tuned to find out more. If you are new to my channel, then please click on the subscribe button in order to receive notifications for any new videos that I upload. Now, in this video, I wanted to talk about what creates a narcissist. Talking about this topic can be extremely difficult for some people because even though they have experienced quite severe abuse from a narcissistic parent, everything that I talk about doesn't excuse the abusive behavior that somebody experiences from a narcissist. Narcissists, unfortunately, usually are formed in a childhood where they have had adverse childhood experiences. People with narcissism have a personality disorder, and this develops through a combination of factors and things that have happened in their childhood to make them the way that they are. So one of the first things is that they usually have adverse childhood experiences. So this could be anything from severe neglect, severe abuse, or it could be that the parents weren't able to actually meet their child's needs for certain reasons. Another reason that a child may develop narcissistic personality when they are older is that they have a certain type of temperament. This child may actually be a difficult child. They may be a hypersensitive child. And when they have a difficult temperament, this also makes the parent less able to adapt to their child's difficult temperament. And the parent will find it harder to look after this child properly, to allow their child's emotions and needs to be expressed in a way that is comfortable for the child. The parent may not have the emotional strength to handle a difficult child, a child that has a very difficult temperament. So this will cause certain traumas in the child, and this is something that will contribute to them developing a personality disorder when they are older. Another reason that somebody can develop NPD is that they were not able to have close, nurturing relationships with their parents. There was some sort of disruption in their attachment with their parent. Most people that have narcissistic personality disorder also have CPTSD. So they have suffered trauma, and this is why they are very, very hardwired to act in certain ways and have certain trauma responses. And when you have narcissistic personality, the biggest trauma response that these individuals are stuck in is the fight trauma response. Another way that somebody develops NPD is if their parents were overindulging them on the one hand and then underindulging them on the other. So a child may have been spoiled in their childhood, but at the same time were also severely neglected. The neglect would be maybe emotional, it could also be physical, but there is usually both. Another reason that somebody develops narcissism is because they haven't been taught how to emotionally regulate by their own parents. It may be that their own parents had NPD, and of course, the child has learned to cope in the same way as the parents did. So obviously in this case, when the parents aren't able to emotionally regulate and they aren't able to teach their child how to do so, this will result in a child that isn't able to regulate their emotions. It will end up being a child that has many tantrums, many outbursts. And of course, if this isn't resolved in childhood, it's carried into adulthood. And that is why you see many people with NPD have huge reactions. They have tantrums like a 3-year-old. They'll be really aggressive. They'll scream and they'll shout. They will have completely disproportionate reactions to things that aren't actually that bad. So emotional dysregulation is a huge, huge reason why somebody may develop narcissism. Another way that somebody can become a narcissist is when their parents have only shown them conditional love. and they haven't actually been able to develop a healthy sense of self. So when the parent conditionally loves their child, they internalize this message that they are only loved if they do something good or they please the parent, that they are not worthy of love just as they are. They believe that the only way that they can be loved is if they succeed at something. Otherwise, they are not loved. Other reasons that somebody can develop NPD is if their parents were overbearing, if they were helicopter parents or bubble wrap parents, so they shielded their children from disappointments and from pain too much to the point where the child cannot handle anything. And they are extremely sensitive to rejection, to any sort of emotional pain. And this also doesn't help the child develop resilience and develop into a strong person when they are older. And when a parent can't handle their own child's disappointment, when the parent has tantrums because their child wasn't invited to a party and they create a scene, well, this doesn't actually help their child develop any sort of emotional resilience or strength when things are not going their way. So this, of course, also creates a lot of difficulties for the child. The child will develop entitlement because they will feel entitled to having everything. They won't know how to deal with rejection, with disappointment. If a child has a narcissistic parent who is constantly protecting them and constantly protecting their insecurities with certain grandiose behaviors, well, the child is then going to learn that too. The child is then also going to develop grandiose behaviors and will feel entitled. And this, of course, is how they then develop NPD later in life. If their parents are like that, they will learn the same. And unfortunately, it will be very hard for them to develop any self-awareness into these behaviors because for them, these behaviors will be normal. They are only copying what they learn in their own childhood with their own narcissistic parents. Let's not forget that social media, especially nowadays, also worsens narcissism because the focus is always on the self. When you're making videos, when you see young teenagers constantly uploading TikTok videos, and then the parents are encouraging this behavior, this also doesn't help a child develop a healthy level of narcissism. It becomes too much. Now, if you have somebody with narcissistic personality in your life, please don't excuse their behavior. Unfortunately, the majority of narcissists are not self-aware and they will not do the work. And yes, there may be some people with NPD that you may feel sorry for because they also suffered trauma. I mean, yes, that's understandable. But if they have hurt you relentlessly, if they aren't able to own up to their behavior, if they aren't able to apologize, and if this behavior continues, then you don't have to be a part of their life. You don't have to make any excuses for their behavior. Now, if you found this video useful, then please give it a thumbs up and feel free to leave a comment if you would like to share something. That is the end of the video. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.